Hello and good evening students, and welcome back to Global Online Platform. This is Chandni Swarnakar, and as you all know that we are discussing previous year questions of Maharashtra set. We have already discussed 60 of them, so do watch the video, and we are going to cover the whole booklet A of September 2021 today. Okay, so we are going to cover 32 questions today for a change. Now you can get my lectures at 9 p.m. on a daily basis. Okay, now let's start with the first question, that is question number 61. So the question number 61 asks you that Aravind Adiga, a writer, creates his Kittur modeled on. So Kittur basically a place that was modeled on. You have to answer that. So let's see the options. First is Mysore, second Bangalore, C. Mangalore. We don't have this kind in reality we don't have a place named by this, okay, or Chennai. Okay, so you need to answer that. So don't get confused. Even if you in reality don't have this, in fiction we can have. Now, so there is a short story collection of 2008, okay, that is Between the Assassinations. Between what? Between the assassinations, basically. Assassinations. Okay. So this is a particular work where he modeled Kittur place, okay, and modeled on Mangalore. On Mangalore, okay. So the correct answer is C. Moving on to the question number 62. The transition from Old English to Middle English began with the. And now I can tell you, if you have watched my previous lectures, you must know that from where it began. Okay, the transition, you can answer that. Now let me read the options for you. First option is Norman conquest of 1066. Second, John Wycliffe's translation of the Bible in 1384. C. The Black Death 1349 to 1350. Or the 100-Year War against France 1337 to 1453. So it's very easy because it's easy. We have already talked about it. Okay. So the first one, the option number 1, Norman conquest of 1066. This is the correct answer. From here you can see the transition. Okay. Now moving on to question number 63. The situational approach to foreign language teaching requires that. Now with this question I must tell you that you need to read a question very carefully. What question is asking. Okay, so the situational approach, situation based on situation, right? So a situational approach to foreign language teaching requires that. What it requires, you need to answer. Okay, so let's see the options. First option is language be taught in specific realistic situations. Language be taught in specific realistic situations, very related to situational approach, because we are basically talking about situational approach that is based on situations. Okay, so this might be true. Let's see. Or learners must be drilled in the rules of grammar. No. Learners must be made to translate extensively. No. Fourth, vocabulary must be built in the target language. No, of course. So the only option we have that seems correct and that is actually correct is A. Okay. So the question number 63's answer is A. Moving on to question number 64. Let me read it for you. So Shakespeare, according to Johnson, offers. So according to Johnson, Shakespeare offers what? You need to answer. So there are 4 options, of course, as usual. First option, particular manners peculiar to individuals. Second, particular manners peculiar to times. C, particular manners peculiar to place. Or D, representations of general nature. Okay, so here I'll need to tell you there is a preface to Shakespeare work, okay, that actually Samuel Johnson wrote. Which work? Preface to Shakespeare. Okay, so there he actually mentioned that Shakespeare is above all writers, at least above all modern writers, the poet of nature. Okay, he also adds something to this line, but for now you need to understand that he talks about Shakespeare relate and by relating to nature. Okay, so here you can see that representations of general nature. The option D is the correct answer. Okay, and for this you need to understand that you need to read preface to Shakespeare. At least a little bit idea you need to have, okay, to answer this type of questions. Now moving on to question number 65. Structure, Sign and Play in the Discourse of the Human Sciences was a paper represented by in 1966 at Johns Hopkins University, USA. So there is a work, there is a paper. Structure, Sign and Play in the Discourse of the Human Sciences is a paper that was published or presented in 1966 at Johns Hopkins University, USA, and you need to find out who presented this particular paper. So the options are Michel Foucault, Roland Barthes, Jacques Derrida or Lacan. Okay. So in previous lectures I have discussed this because when we were discussing literary theories, I have been discussing Lacan, Jacques Derrida, Roland Barthes, Michel Foucault. So from that you can get the idea that who wrote or who presented this particular paper. Okay. So here you can see the correct answer is Jacques Derrida. Now moving on to question number 66. By peripeteia, Aristotle means what? So you know, when we were covering literary criticism, we have discussed this particular thing, okay, related to Aristotle. So you need to answer that. The options are climax, anticlimax, reversal of fortune of course, and interlude. Which is the correct answer? Basically, peripeteia stands for reversal of fortune, like what you expected, something else happened. Okay, so that is reversal of fortune, and that stands for peripeteia. Okay, so the correct answer is the third one, of course. Now moving on to question number 67. When a nation casts off colonialism, it also casts off the colonized man. What is the implications of Frantz Fanon? Need to answer. With the options, it will get more clear. When a nation casts off colonialism, it also casts off the colonized man. What is the implications of Frantz Fanon? So the options are that native intellectuals must dig up the fragments of culture. First option. Then that one must exoticize one's own people. Second, that it gives rise to isolationism, or the fourth one, when we become free of oppression, we regain our humanity. What could be the correct answer? So, like, while reading these options, I felt very attached or very associated and felt glad with this option. When we become free of oppression, we regain our humanity. Of course, you do not need to go with my gladness or with my happiness. The correct answer is basically D. Okay. When we become free of oppression, we regain our humanity. Moving on to question number 68, sir. Students. Omniscient narrators are necessarily what? So the options are heterodiegetic, homodiegetic, or analeptic, or prolepsis. Okay, so these are the options. So for answering this type of question, you need to understand the options first. Okay, so what is omniscient narrator? Like who tells the story and who knows each and everything about the characters, like even the minor, major, or even the side characters, or even the characters that are not very much involved in the plot line, or even in the story, right? So the options are heterodiegetic. First, you need to understand what does it mean by heterodiegetic. So heterodiegetic relating to a narrator that does not take part in the plot. Okay, so the narrator who is not taking part in the plot is heterodiegetic. Now, first remember that when I told you about omniscient narrator, it was there like omniscient narrator does not take part in the plot. He only tells you the story. He only tells you the things, thoughts that characters are having in their mind, or even outer world. Okay, so that is associated with heterodiegetic. So it's very related to heterodiegetic. So the first option is the correct option, but still Now the second option is homodiegetic. What is homodiegetic? See, homodiegetic basically relating to the narrator of a dramatic work who is also the protagonist or other character in the work. Okay, so who can be anyone. So it's basically playing a role here. So of course it cannot be the correct option. Analeptic. Analeptic is a kind of a drug. So for now I only know this much with this option, so I cannot opt it. Prolepsis. Prolepsis is a figure of speech where like in which a figure, act or development is presented as if already accomplished or existing. For example, if you want to be a doctor, of course if you are doing a PhD, you want a doctor title, right, or whatever. So just imagine that happened and you're behaving like that happened. Okay, so that is actually stands for prolepsis. So the correct answer is, of course, the heterodiegetic, I told you before. Now moving on to question number 69. In which play does Corvino try to force his wife Celia to the protagonist's bed? Now this is a very disgusting act, but still you need to answer. So the options are epicenter. This is not epicenter. This is epicene, or something related to Ben Jonson. Now let me tell you the spelling. This is the tip spelling. Epi. Okay, so O-E attached to each other. Or The Silent Woman, or Bartholomew Fair, or Walpole, or Caesarius. These are the works by Ben Jonson, of course. Now you need to know that in Walpole, Corvino was actually trying to force his wife Celia to go to bed with the protagonist, and it was ruthless and also very derogatory. Now the correct answer is C. Okay, question number 70 will deal. Who is the author of Diary? It's very easy. Of course, Samuel Pepys, right? So he kept the diary from 1660 to 1669. You need to know the direction. Moving on to question number 71. Identify the members of the Cockney School of Poetry from among the options given below. So the Cockney School of Poetry basically refers to a group of poets and essayists writing in England in the second or third decades of the 19th century. Okay, so third or second decades of the 19th century, and the main writers were included. William Hazlitt was there. William Hazlitt. Then I guess Leigh Hunt was there. Leigh Hunt. Then John Keats was also there. Okay, so Leigh Hunt, John Keats. Of course, here you can see Leigh Hunt, John Keats, but you cannot. William Wordsworth is not there. John Keats, P.B. Shelley, Lord Byron, no. Leigh Hunt, John Keats, Wilfred Robinson, of course not. So Leigh Hunt, John Keats will be correct answer. The option B is the correct answer. Moving on to question number 72. Here, see or read it carefully. Okay. Now, what is a hypothesis? If you are a PhD scholar, or even if you are preparing for UGC-NET, you need to know what is a hypothesis. Okay. So the options are: a research question to be investigated. No. A statement that the researcher wants to test through the data collected in a study. Third, a theory that underpins the study. D, a statistical method for calculating the extent to which the results could have happened by chance. So mostly the second one seems very much related to hypothesis. Okay, so the correct answer is a second one. Okay, now moving on to question number 73. The first step of research is, what is the first step of research? Whether it's identifying a problem, B, examining a problem, or selecting a problem, or solving a problem. Solving a problem, we at the end do it, right? Selecting a problem, first you need to read about it, like what kind of problem you can deal. You need to find that. Identifying a problem, even for that you need to read, no? So the option second, examining a problem, that is the first step of research. So the option B is the correct answer. Now moving on to question number 74. Here the question is asking about mask. Okay, so here read the question very carefully. Which of the following is not a feature of the mask? Okay, here not is mentioned, so you need to understand this. So the options are: the characters are deities of classical mythology, nymphs and personified abstractions like love, delight, harmony. So this is the correct feature. Dances of various kinds are introduced at appropriate places. This is also a correct feature. Third, the scenery and costumes are very elaborate. Of course, they elaborated. It's also a feature that is associated with mask. Then the fourth one, there is no restriction on the number of characters. Of course, there is a restriction. So you need to just get rid of these options. Okay, so the correct option is D. Okay, moving on to question number 75. Suzanne Laurie Park is or /N. You need to identify that. Whether she is a African playwright or Black American playwright or American British playwright or white American playwright. So you can see her picture. She's a really beautiful woman. Now, the correct answer is she is a Black American playwright. What? She's a Black American playwright and also won Pulitzer Prize drama, and she was named among the one of the 100 most influential people in the world by Time magazine. In which year? In 2023. So you need to know this. That is why they are asking questions on it. Okay. Now, of course, this is a paper of 2021, but she is a very prominent figure, so you need to know that. Moving on, during the reign of King James, in which continent were the first British colonies founded? Okay, during the reign of King James, in which continent were the first British colonies founded? Whether it was Asia, Africa, Australia or North America. So correct answer is North America. For this type of question, you just need to read the history and also you need to remember it. Now, question number 77. What do you consider as the main aim of interdisciplinary research? So, what interdisciplinary stands for? Where you are mixing two or more different areas of knowledge or study, that is actually considerable in interdisciplinary research. So, here and let's see the options. To oversimplify the problem of research. No. To create a new trend in research methodology. To bring out holistic approach to research. Holistic stands for whole. Okay. Or fourth, to reduce the emphasis of single subject and research domain. Of course, the most perfect option seems is C, to bring out holistic approach to research. Because interdisciplinary is somewhat very much related to holistic approach. That is why the correct answer is C. Moving on to question number 78. Who among the following is not a representative poet of the Victorian age? So, of course, as we all know, Robert Browning is a Victorian age writer. Alfred Tennyson, of course, belongs to Victorian age. W.B. Yeats, William Butler Yeats is considered as a 20th century Irish poets, dramatists and writers. Okay, so we can consider him as the correct answer. Now, D, Elizabeth Barrett Browning first belongs to Victorian age. So, C is the correct option here. Moving on to question number 79. In the word management, the morpheme meant is. So, that is basically the question is asking about morpheme. Okay, so morpheme. So, management, let's divide it. So, manage plus meant. Okay, so when you use any kind of affix stands for when you add something in the beginning or at the end and change the word meaning. Okay, so that is affix, and affix stands for two things: prefix or suffix. So suffix basically talks about the end, or prefix talks about at the beginning. Okay, so when you add something to a word that is at the beginning, that is prefix, and when you add something to a word at the end, So that will call as suffix. Okay, so now you need to understand that prefix I have already told you. So it's not, of course, it's a beginning, so we will not consider that. Zero morpheme basically does not have any change. So we will not also consider that. Now derivations and inflectional morpheme is there. So derivations morpheme basically talks about kind of like existing word. There is an existing word, and when you add something, whether it's a prefix or affix, a suffix, and create a new word, that is derivations morpheme. And that exactly happened here. Manage plus meant. You are adding suffix here and creating a new word, management. So that is, of course, the correct answer will be derivations morpheme. And why not inflectional? Because inflectional morpheme actually changes the grammatical information or grammatical formation. For example, you are using skip, then skipping. Okay, so that is inflectional morpheme. So here it is not happening, right? So the correct answer is derivations morpheme or derivational morpheme. Moving on to question number 80. Who translated Waiting for Godot into English? So Waiting for Godot, who wrote Waiting for Godot? Of course, Samuel Beckett. But you need to answer that who translated it. Sometimes the translator is different and sometimes the translator is the same. Okay, so the correct answer is Samuel Beckett, because Samuel Beckett translated Waiting for Godot. Moving on to question number 81. Who among the following didn't write a novel on the 1914 to 18 World War? Whether it's Sir Philip Gibbs, R.H. Mottram, Robert Graves, or T.F. Powys. Yeah, let me tell you, you cannot do anything with this kind of questions. Okay, so even if you don't know about, like, see, Robert Graves is a very familiar writer. We read about him. Okay, so sometimes you'll get options like you haven't touched that writer or haven't talked about that writer. So there you do not need to panic. You just need to be there and you can answer that. Okay, or you can guess. At maximum you can do this much. So here actually Sir Philip Gibbs was related to World War novel. R.H. Mottram was also one of them. Robert Graves was also one of them. The only writer, T.F. Powys, was the one who was not related to or didn't write a novel on the 1914 to 18 World War. Okay, so the correct answer is D. Moving on to question number 82. Okay, so the question number 82, John Buchan's The 39 Steps is an. So I am really confused with this particular work or the question, because it is written that it's an adventurous novel, and here the correct answer that of course UGC-net or Maharashtra SET has declared is romantic novel. Maybe romantic in the sense related to nature. Okay, because you are using R capital R here. So but still I'm confused, so you can actually deal with this question. So but before that, let me tell you the correct answer. The correct answer is romantic novel, C. Moving on to question number 83. Gabriel Garcia Marquez novel 100 Years of Solitude is a story of which family? Okay, you need to answer. And with this kind of question, you need to understand this type of writers are very important, and you need to read the writer's work, at least the characters you know. Okay, Biondia family, Bovary family, Emma or Berenguer family. So the correct answer is Biondia family. Okay, moving on to question number 84. Who is the hero of R.K. Narayan's The Financial Expert? Who is the hero of R.K. Narayan's The Financial Expert? So many times they ask questions on R.K. Narayan's novels. Okay, so the main character or the side character or what kind of play they were playing. That kind of question they'll ask you even in net. Okay, so you need to be very careful. So the option are Raju, Krishna, Chandran, Margaya. Okay, So the correct option is Margaya, fourth one. Okay, moving on to question number 85. Raj Mohan's wife is written by B.B. Lal, Chitra Banerjee Diva Kurani, Shekhar Bandyopadhyay, it's like Upadhyay, okay, or the Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. So it's very relevant to that. It's very evident because Bankim Chandra Chatterjee wrote Raj Mohan's wife, and you need to read that particular work, okay. The correct answer is D. Moving on to question number 86. The study of the structure of words is called. Yeah, the very interesting question is here. So what is phonology? You need to understand the options first, okay. So the phonology stands for the study of the patterns of the sound, okay, in a language. That stands for study of the sounds. Lexicography. Lexicography, it's a theory or practice of writing dictionaries, okay. So something related to dictionaries. Yeah. So these options are not the correct ones, of course. Morphology. What is morphology? Morphology, of course, it is the study of the structure of words is called morphology. Okay, so this is the correct one, but still we'll consider semantics here. So semantics stands for the study of the meanings of words. Meanings of what? Words or phrases. Okay, words or phrases. So the correct answer is morphology. At the background there is a music is going on. Just ignore it. Now moving on to question number 87. Which of this is a dialect of Old English? Whether it's Latin, Northumbria, Irish, Cockney. And I know you can answer this question very easily. The correct answer is Northumbria. And if you are after reading a lot, even if you don't know this question's answer, no, read, practice. Question number 88. Wordsworth writes, humble and rustic life was chosen because in that condition, the essential passions of the heart was what? Options are under restraint, or find a better soil, or do not speak a plainer language, or cannot be accurately contemplated. So let me tell you, the correct answer is find a better soil. Find a better soil. Humble and rusting life was chosen because in that condition the essential passions of the heart is to find a better soil. Okay, moving on to question number 89. So which one of the following critic school pair is correctly matched? You can see here. So Raymond Williams is associated with cultural studies. Of course, this is the correct one option. Frederick Jameson is not associated with archetypal criticism because it is related to Marxist. I.A. Richards, historical, no, because it belongs to new criticism. Ellen Tate, of course, this is also not the correct one because Ellen Tate was also belonged to new criticism. So the only option we got, A, is the correct answer. Moving on to question number 90, students. What does the term Baroque mean in the context of literature? What does the term Baroque means in the context of literature? So read the options carefully. Grand and highly decorated style, highly satirical, very concise, short and precise description, tragic with a comic interlude. And don't be like, okay, from where we'll read this type of questions, ma'am? Because you'll read writers and they actually discuss these things, and more often you'll get to know it. So just be very careful with it, okay? So Baroque stands for grand and highly decorated style. The first one is the correct option. Okay, moving on to question number 91. True wit is nature to advantage dressed. What oft was thought but never so well expressed? True wit is nature to advantage dressed. What oft was thought but never so well expressed. So these lines occurs in so whether it's Vanity of Human Wishes or Mac Flecknoe or the Danciad or Essay on Alexander, I am telling you the writer, Essay on Criticism. Okay, so these are the lines from Essay on Criticism and Essay on Criticism, the whole title, and that was of course written by Alexander Pope. Okay, slip of tongue, it happened. The correct answer is D. Moving on to question number 92 and the last one. We look before and after and pine for what is not. Our sincerest laughter with some pain is fraught. Wow. We look before and after and pine for what is not. Our sincerest laughter with some pain is fraught. Our sweetest songs are those that tell of the saddest thought. And it's a very famous line. Okay, so which of the following poets compose above lines? Whether it's William Wordsworth, P.V. Shelley, that is, or John Keats or Lord Byron. So it is line from To a Skylark. Okay, I gave you some hints. So it's a work written by To a Skylark, P.V. Shelley. Okay, so the correct option is P.V. Shelley. Got it? Now we have done today's lecture. We'll meet in the next lecture with booklet B. Okay, so we are going to cover 30 questions in the next lecture, and all the very best. Thank you so much.